Guys, so today I'm going to be doing another commentary for you, but it's going to be a little bit different. I've received a lot of comments saying, can you do shorter commentaries? So one of the ways I'm going to try and do this is by just doing the laning phase for you. I want to specifically highlight how I lane with the champion, what I'm thinking, and how I come out ahead. And hopefully that can be kind of your middle ground. For those of you who don't want to watch a full game, you get to see this. Now, I'm not opposed to doing the full game. If you want me to, please just let me know and I'll upload the whole thing. Obviously, it is a 50-minute game, so it's going to be a long commentary, but I'm more than happy to do that for you. So the reason I picked this game to commentate was because we get behind in lane. Now you can see I'm against a Draven Leona, which is a really strong lane against Vayne anyway, and Draven kind of counters Vayne because he can trade better than Vayne can. Obviously Vayne's main trading harass is her Q, but Draven's Q is just going to do a ton more damage, so there's not really any point in trading because you're just going to lose. But the reason I picked this one is because we get behind in lane, we make a really big mistake early, and it ends up giving Draven a huge advantage. But I'm going to teach you how you come back in lanes. So the two things you really need to watch out for when you're trying to come back in a lane is just to keep your CS up. Don't get harassed unnecessarily. Just stay back, get the CS that he lets you take. And the second thing is just wait for him to make a mistake. You can't really create as many plays when you're behind because he's still going to be really strong. And this is especially true with Draven. But the thing to remember is that every player is going to make mistakes. And when he does, it's up to you to then capitalize on him. So you can see right there, that was really bad of me. I took 2 of his Qs when I wasn't actually really doing anything. I wasn't going up to CS, and so he just got some free damage onto me, and now I'm kind of having to play a little bit passive. So I'm staying right at the back, and I'm just kind of waiting for the wave to push up towards me. I'm trying to take as much CS as I can, but I've got to watch out for Leona because if she gets her E onto me, I'm going to be in serious trouble. So this is kind of how you lane against Draven early when you're playing a weak laner. You just stay at the very back. You're going to take some harass, but there's not much point in trading with him unless he puts himself in a bad position because he's most likely going to come out on top of it. So you can see I'm using my Q there to farm under turret, and right here this is where we make the mistake. So I'm going to slow it down, and you can see that unfortunately what happened was Blitz missed his hook and then still went in for the exchange. Leona jumped onto me, and I didn't think that Draven had enough damage to kill me because he didn't have 2 axes spinning, so I assumed that he was just going to drop the first one and then he wasn't have another one, so he couldn't kill me. But unfortunately he had the Q cooldown ready. He simply reactivated it, flashed onto me, killed me, and he got a double kill. Now that play was kind of all started because Blitzcrank ran into both of them and I followed him. What I should have done was ignore him and just carried on to farming, because if you miss your hook on Blitzcrank, you don't really have anything left. And he missed that hook and then unfortunately carried on going, which meant we ended up losing that trade. Now he's gone back and he's bought a pickaxe. He couldn't quite afford a BF sword, but it means that he's in a huge advantage. But I'm going to pause it now because this is kind of his first mistake. So he comes forward and Leona isn't in lane. Leona stayed longer than he did because Draven had to go back because he's really low, and Leona pushed the wave. Now I knew this. We pinged onto Draven. We managed to get a kill onto him, and this was purely just because he like kind of made a mistake. He didn't have his support around and he came way too far forward. So that's the first thing that lets me get back into this game. I obviously reposition with my Q and E him into the wall, which does secure the kill in the end. The other thing is I don't have barrier, so in a straight up fight it's more difficult for me to win that trade because he's got the added health from barrier. But now that's on cooldown, you can see I'm actually 6 CS ahead now, and that's just because I'm CSing really well and he's not CSing as great, but he just missed a wave to the turret there. Now this is where we have to be kind of careful because Draven is still really strong. Just because I got a kill on him does not mean I'm in a better position than him now. I have a level on him, but again I'm Vayne, and in an all-in situation he's most likely still going to win that, especially with Leona. So you can see he's going to get his E onto me and we're going to get this great hook. Now I'm not following up on it, so you see like most players will want to go into every engagement and they're just, as soon as your support does something, you follow it up 100%. You see there I didn't really do anything. I landed a couple of basic attacks and that was it, and that's purely because Draven is stronger than me. If I jump into them, even though Leona's not got her CDs anymore, I'm still going to end up losing, so there's not really any point. Now this is another play where Blitzcrank misses his hook, and so we're just going to have to back off again. It's not the best idea to trade when you have a ton of minions around, but the thing to note now, you can look on the minimap and Volley Bear is coming. So what we end up actually doing is Blitzcrank gets a great hook here, but you see my focus is on Draven. Now that's because he's the highest priority for me. I don't need to chase everyone else, but I am going to stun Leona into the wall here, force her flash, and then I'm going to pop my ult and I'm going to go on to Volibear. The reason I popped my ult at that point is because we were then fully engaging onto the team, whereas before we weren't really doing anything. I could have possibly put it onto Leona and that would have been a good use of it as well. I do need to work on how often I use my ultimate because it's on such a low cooldown. But we end up taking 2 kills there just from the misplay they made, where they caught in the middle of shall we dive, shall we not. So you see, I'm not actually doing anything incredible. Okay, so I'm just going to stop and talk about this because you can see Draven's on his own. He thinks he's stronger than I am, but fortunately he's not. Even with his barrier, I'm just going to flash E him into the wall and I'm going to pick up another kill. Now, it's not always a good idea to use your flash aggressively on an AD, but when you know how much damage you can do, then it's more than acceptable to use that to pick up a kill. You can see that I kind of clipped him just on the edge of the E, and that just comes from playing a lot of Vayne, knowing that I had enough damage to kill him after the stun. And you can see now I'm 3-1-1. I have 54 CS. Draven is 2-2 and has 43. So I'm actually ahead of Draven. Now that's purely come from me sitting back and capitalizing on his mistakes. I'm not pulling any amazing plays. The only thing that I have done well was probably that trade there where I flashed and E'd him into the wall. That's the only thing that it requires, like, the knowledge to play the champion a lot. Apart from that, I haven't really done anything. It's just been waiting for him to make a mistake and picking up on that. So right now I actually can trade with Draven. I've got a lot of lifesteal and I have my attack speed. This game I decided to max my Q, so like there's 2 different routes you can go with maxing on Vayne, and you can either max your W for like your highest damage potential, but against difficult lanes you're not going to get your 3 stacks onto someone, so it's pretty much wasted damage and it reduces your trading potential. When you're maxing Q, it gives you better repositioning in mid game. It also means that you can trade a little bit better just because your Q does added damage. So if Draven does come to trade with his Q, I can at least return some of that. And now that I've got a lot of life still and he doesn't, it means that we can go even. We can trade and then I can just auto attack and life steal up. So right now this is kind of an important part of AD as well, which not a lot of people think about. He is a huge wave at the moment, and what I'm doing is I'm auto attacking every time it's available because I want to get rid of that wave. I don't want to CS. Well, I don't want to CS under tower for a start, but I can't even trade with them. If they engage on me when they have a huge wave, I can't actually do anything because the minions are going to kill me and do like so much more damage. But by equalizing the wave out, it's a lot better. So I actually make a mistake here, and you can see, I'm just going to pause it after and talk about it. So you can see there that they picked up Blitzcrank. Now if I had my E available, I could E Draven into the wall right now and I'd be able to kill him. The problem is that I used my E on Tristana, so kind of like I wasted that, pushed her away. I wanted to keep her out of ultimate range of Blitzcrank, but in the end it didn't matter, and unfortunately we couldn't pick up a kill because of that mistake by me. Now I'm just going to keep trying to farm. Like there's no reason for me to do anything else on Vayne at the moment. Tristana's still around and I'm not sure what Elise was doing there. Like she just wasted her flash pretty much. She needed to flash the E, but she shouldn't have been in that position anyway. So I'm just going to play a little bit longer because this is still kind of laning phase at the moment. You can see the game is pretty even. We're actually like 3,000 gold behind, which is not good, but I'm still winning my lane at the moment. And the biggest thing on Vayne is that if you go even in lane, you can probably snowball the rest of the game quite easily. If you look at their team, they have a Teemo and a Tristana as a top and mid. Tristana's very bursty, but if I wait and let her use her burst on someone else, then there's not really much anyone else can do to me. So I'm going to go and take these golems very quickly because my lane is really pushed and we don't have enough ward coverage to really engage anyone. But this is the point where we can start to fight. If you have a look, it's always a good idea to look at the enemy laners' items when they come back to lane to give you an idea of how much they can trade. Now Draven's got his pickaxe still, and so he hasn't really got any more damage at all. But this is kind of just showing you, even though we were ahead, we couldn't actually do anything. So if you have a look at my position now, I'm just going to pause it again because this is really important. So she's hooked Leona into tower range. Now I can either attack the closest target, which is going to be Leona. That's going to be a guaranteed kill. But actually my priority is going to be Draven. So the reason I pick him is because he's out of mana. It means he can't reactivate his Q if he drops them, and he can't use his W or E to send me away. So this is going to be a 100% kill for me. I've got my ultimate, I've got my increased movement speed, and I even have my cutlass if I want to use that on him as well. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn straight onto Draven, and I'm going to attempt to kill him, and then I'm going to go on to Leona afterwards. Leona's in a really bad position at the moment. If she tries to use any of her abilities defensively, the tower's going to start attacking her, and which is going to do more damage to her. And then hopefully what will happen is I pick up both of these kills rather than just the one on Leona. So I press play. See, I'm going to turn on to Draven, and I'm going to try and condemn him into this wall. I'm going to keep using my tumble, and I'm going to flash away from Leona because she had her Q available, which would have stunned, and then I wouldn't have been able to pick up Draven, or he may have been able to escape. So using a flash to reposition and get away is perfectly fine in lane, but you do have to be a little bit more careful of ganks because there's less chance of you now getting away. So I'm going to end this commentary here, and I hope you enjoyed it. This is pretty much the point where the lane phase turns into team fighting. So I'm not saying the comeback was purely just because I'm amazing or anything like that. It's a combination of me making a couple of plays and Draven making a lot of mistakes, and it's just capitalizing on those that allow me to get back into the game. So please do tell me if you enjoyed this kind of format where I just focus on one stage of the game, or whether you just prefer to do the full game commentary. Please do leave your feedback in the comments, and like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.